In this video, we're going to be talking about the people in the environment influencing us and some studies along with stories I came across that really just show you how much your peers are influencing you. It's in human nature to mimic others and to get influenced by others. We kind of need it in order to grow. Back in the day, when we were hunter-gatherers, we kind of had to do that for survival reasons. Being influenced happens just about everywhere. In the schools is a common place. I was reading an article and this professor put a student with another student in the class who did not really care about school. So when they tried to work on a project together, they both stored that poor performance because that one student was kind of rubbing all that negative energy onto him. When the professor moved that student with the top performer in the class, that kid's energy got rubbed off into him because he cared about school, he was highly motivated, and while they were working together on a project, that student did the best work he's ever done throughout his high school career. So that really shows you the power of influence. In the homes is also a common place where we get influenced by our siblings and family members. There was a student in an article who loved to make sculptures. It was his passion, and in his home, his parents kind of degrade him and they were very negative. And in high school, it was kind of the same thing. He did not really have a good support system. But when he went to college and was surrounded by highly motivated people who pushed him to chase his dreams, he clinged to his passion a lot more. And then after he finished college, he made a career out of making sculptures. Had he stayed in the environment where people were just negatively influencing him, who knows where he would have gone. Now, it's very hard to get away from family members, especially if they're negative and they're influencing you in bad ways. So this is why I like a technique by Master Saeed. He's a YouTuber who kind of makes videos along the lines of what I do. The technique goes something like this. If you're speaking to someone who's just very negative and you can sense it, one thing you can do is to glance away from them, while you're speaking to them, because as you're doing that, you're not absorbing a lot of their negative energy. Another thing is to just focus on your breath. It's not very obvious, only you will know it's happening. And that can also just detach you from that negative person, because we need our family members, and if we can't get away from them, that technique can be useful. And you can also use that with people in your job too, because there's no way you're going to be able to get away from the people that you're working with. In the communities, we're also getting influenced by each other a lot. When researchers followed Framingham residents for 32 years, that really showed us how much we're actually influencing each other. And the researchers followed 12,000 residents, so that made them have more control on getting rid of a lot of the lurking variables that can sometimes mess up the data. What they found doing a study was the people in groups that started to drink alcohol and smoke cigarettes and just not care about the health, that got rubbed off onto other people in that community as well. And it was the same thing if one group started to eat healthy, care about their health, that also got rubbed off onto the peers. In the bar, if one group started to drink a lot, so did other groups. Now, if some groups started to drink less and less, that also got rubbed off onto everyone else. In our friend groups, this is also happening. If you're surrounded by people that want to be lazy, they want to take shortcuts, that's gonna get rubbed off on you as well. I like a technique that I was reading in an article. It goes something like this. Rate your top 5 best friends on a scale 1 to 10. And that scale is based on, are they kind to you? Do they push you to be better? Do they support you? Do they care about your being? And if a lot of those answers are no, for things that are similar like that, you really want to remove them out of your life. Because if you're surrounded by negative people, it is eventually gonna get pushed onto your character. And you need to be surrounded by good people if you want to accomplish great things in your life. In the Air Force, like when psychologists followed cadets for over 4 years, it really showed the influence that the soldiers had on each other. The big factor that dictated whether a group in the cadets did good or not was the least fit individual. If he decided to push himself and do well, even though he was the least fit, that got rubbed off onto everyone else in the group. Now, if he decided to be lazy and kind of mess around and not push himself, that also got rubbed off onto the group as well. Because the groups, they're looking at the least fit individual and thinking to themselves, if this guy's just getting by, then I'm sure we can too. So it's that mindset piece. When I used to play football back in the day, my senior year, I was a lot more mature then, so on the field, I gave full effort. I did not really mess around. But as I was looking around, I was seeing that there were a lot of people who were not as motivated as me, and they did not really give full effort all the time during practice. And as the season went on, I kind of saw myself start to be lazy myself and not really give full effort. I was getting influenced essentially by my other teammates, and that's common. Like, it's very hard not to get influenced by others. I'm sure it's happened to you during your life too. Like, maybe you're at a restaurant and everyone says, "Do you want dessert?" So you're thinking, I want dessert too, because you just want to be like everyone else. I like this thing I came across. It goes something like this. If 80% of the people in the business are putting in all the hard work, that 20% of people are either gonna leave the business or work harder, because that 80%, there's just so many of them that are highly motivated that it's gonna get rubbed off onto the other 20%. Now, if 20% of the people are doing the work and then the other 80% are just being lazy, the whole enterprise is just going to collapse, because that 20% are just going to get frustrated and they'll become lazy, and maybe some might leave, and that's not very good for business at all. If you're surrounded by people that are not motivated and they want to take shortcuts, it's going to get rubbed off onto you. And it's best to find those people that are more there for you and care about you doing well.